There's a decision that most empaths circle around for years without ever landing on it. They approach it, feel the weight of it, and then retreat into the familiar comfort of overgiving. The decision is this: to let people experience the full consequences of how they treat you. Not to punish them, not to teach them a lesson, but to simply stop intervening between someone's behavior and the natural outcome of that behavior. For most people, this sounds reasonable, obvious even. But for the empath, this decision dismantles something so foundational to how they operate that it feels like dying. Because the empath has spent their entire life standing between people and consequences, softening blows, translating cruelty into misunderstanding, rewriting neglect as busyness, making excuses for people who never once made an effort to deserve them. Carl Jung identified this tendency as one of the most destructive patterns in the empathic personality. He found that empaths don't just absorb other people's emotions, they absorb other people's accountability. When someone behaves poorly toward the empath's first instinct is not to hold that person responsible, it's to search inward. What did I do to cause this? How could I have prevented it? What should I change about myself so it doesn't happen again? Jung called this inverted responsibility. The empath takes ownership of things that were never theirs to carry. Someone else's rage becomes the empath's failure to be calming enough. Someone else's dishonesty becomes the empath's failure to ask the right questions. Someone else's cruelty becomes the empath's failure to be lovable enough to prevent it. This inversion is so automatic, so deeply wired, that the empath doesn't even recognize it as a distortion. It feels like maturity. It feels like self-awareness. It feels like taking the high road. But Jung saw it for what it was: a survival mechanism that had outlived its usefulness and was now slowly dismantling the empath from the inside. The origins of this pattern are almost always rooted in childhood. Jung observed that empaths who struggle with inverted responsibility typically grew up in environments where holding others accountable was dangerous. A child who confronted a volatile parent learned quickly that consequences flow downhill. You don't tell the person hurting you that they're hurting you. You find a way to make the hurt your fault, because at least then you have the illusion of control. If it's your fault, you can fix it. If it's theirs, you're helpless. This logic makes perfect sense for a child with no power and no exit. But the empath carries it into adulthood, like a sacred text, following its rules long after they've stopped making sense. They're no longer a child trapped in a home they can't leave. They're an adult with full autonomy who is choosing unconsciously but consistently to protect people from the impact of their own actions. The cost of this protection is staggering. The empath becomes a human buffer zone. Every relationship they enter is distorted by their willingness to absorb what should be reflected back. They forgive things that haven't been apologized for. They reconcile conflicts that the other person doesn't even acknowledge as conflicts. They smooth over ruptures so efficiently that the person who caused the rupture never even knows it happened. And then the empath wonders why the same patterns keep repeating. Jung would tell you the patterns repeat because you've removed every reason for them to stop. You've created an environment where someone can treat you poorly and experience no change in how you show up for them. No distance, no reduction in warmth, no shift in availability. The empath absorbs the blow, processes the pain privately, and returns to the relationship as though nothing happened. And the other person learns exactly what that teaches them: that there are no consequences, that the empath's boundaries are theoretical, that they can take whatever they want, and the empath will find a way to make it okay. The decision most empaths avoid is to stop making it okay, to let the silence after someone's cruelty remain silent, to not reach out first after being hurt, to allow the awkwardness of an unresolved conflict to sit in the room without rushing to clean it up, to let someone feel the full weight of your absence after they've treated your presence as disposable. This is not revenge. Jung was very clear about this distinction. Revenge seeks to inflict pain. What the empath is doing is far simpler and far harder. They're stepping out of a role they were never meant to play. They're returning accountability to its rightful owner. They're allowing reality to function without their constant intervention. But the difficulty of this decision cannot be overstated. The empath who stops intervening will feel every instinct in their body screaming at them to go back, to send the text, to make the call, to smooth things over, to be the bigger person, which in empath language always means being the person who sacrifices their own needs to restore someone else's comfort. Jung found that empaths who push through this discomfort encounter something unexpected on the other side: clarity. When you stop protecting people from the consequences of how they treat you, you get to see, perhaps for the first time, how they respond to accountability. And what you see will tell you everything you need to know about whether this person belongs in your life. Some people, confronted with the natural consequences of their behavior, will reflect. They'll notice your absence. They'll recognize the pattern. They'll come to you not with excuses or deflection, but with genuine ownership. These are the people worth keeping. Not because they're perfect, but because they're willing to be honest when it costs them something. But most people, Jung observed, will not reflect. They'll escalate. They'll frame your boundary as an attack. They'll tell you you've changed, and they'll mean it as an accusation rather than an observation. They'll recruit others to pressure you back into compliance. They'll rewrite history so thoroughly that you start questioning whether you have the right to be hurt at all. This is the moment that separates the empath who heals from the empath who remains trapped. The empath who heals sees the escalation for what it is: proof that the relationship was built on their compliance, not on mutual respect. Evidence that their role was never partner or friend or family member. It was shock absorber, emotional landfill, the place where someone else's dysfunction went to be processed at no cost to the person who created it. The empath who remains trapped sees the escalation and hears the old voice: "You caused this, go back, fix it, be easier to love," and they return, and the cycle continues, and another year passes in the same pattern. Jung would tell you that the decision to let people experience consequences is not the empath becoming cruel. It's the empath becoming honest. For the first time, they're allowing the relationship to show its true structure. They're removing the scaffolding they built to hold up something that cannot stand on its own. And if it collapses, that collapse isn't their failure. It's the truth they'd been postponing. The decision most empaths avoid is ultimately this: to trust that you deserve relationships that don't require your constant labor to survive. To believe that the right people will meet you in the middle without being carried there. To accept that you cannot love someone into treating you well. And to finally, after all the years of absorbing and excusing and returning, let the consequences speak for themselves. You are not responsible for managing other people's relationship with accountability. You never were. And the moment you stop, you'll discover who was there for you and who was only there for what you were willing to endure. That discovery will break your heart, but it will also finally set you free.